This is about a 10-minute mobility routine that's going to focus in on the shoulder area. So we'll be utilizing a cat-cow variation as well as controlled articular rotations for the shoulder. And then we're going to get into a stretch called the sleeper stretch for the shoulder. We have 4 exercises to get through, so let's get to it. The first exercise is cat-cow from hands and knees, also known as the quadruped position. So hands under shoulders, elbows straight, knees under hips. You can stack your toes or you can point your toes. Starting off with a flat spine, we're going to go through a full cat and cow 2 times through. So round the spine to the ceiling first. This is the cat position. So think of an angry cat. I think bring the chin into the chest, scoop the groin forward towards the nose, feel it stretch along the whole spine, and actively push into that stretch. Let's hold this for a couple breaths. As you breathe in, you should feel those breaths expanding your ribs and lower back areas on the back side of you. And now let's go into the cow position. So belly goes to the floor. Think of a lazy cow. Belly to the floor, chin to the sky. Everything that was just stretching in the cat position should now feel like it's contracting or flexing. Hold for a few breaths. Don't shy away from those contractions along the spine. Back into the cat position. See if you can get a little deeper into it this time. Again, holding it for a few breaths. And then one more time into the cow. You should feel those muscles contracting between the shoulder blades and all the way down to those dimples in the lower back area. A few deep breaths. Good. From here, we're going to move into some scapular protraction, retraction, or you can simply think of them as punches. So we just got through cat-cow, which was 100% spinal motion. Now we want to keep the spine from moving at all, and it all coming from the shoulder blade area. So what does that look like? I imagine that I'm trying to push myself away from the floor as far as I can. Now, as I do this, I'm not rounding through the spine. I'm keeping my spine flat, pushing the floor away. And as I do that, your shoulder blades are moving away from each other. And then we do the opposite. Elbows stay straight, but now I'm relaxing my shoulder blades, allowing them to come together, which lets my trunk sink towards the floor. Again, we're not bending at the elbows. This is all shoulder blades. So push the floor away. Feel the upper back area between those shoulder blades stretch out. Relax them, bring them together. Punch away. And down. To give you some perspective, sitting here, trunk's perfectly still. This is simply me reaching forward with that arm, pulling the arm back. This is the motion. It's not a big one. So if you need to practice it here, reaching forward, pulling back. This is the motion. Your shoulder blades are meant to move, separate from other things. Same motion, but now you just have the floor underneath your hands. Pushing away, lowering down. I'm working towards getting about 10 good reps here. I'm going to do 2 more. Last one. Good. From here, I'm going to go ahead and take a seat. If you can't seat on the floor like this, that's fine. You can sit in a chair. We're going to roll through some shoulder CARs. So I'm going to start with my right arm. So my left arm's actually going to be planted on the floor. If you're sitting in a chair, you can take that hand and reach underneath and grab onto the edge of the chair. I find that to be very helpful because we don't want anything else to move. Arm straight. Reach across the body. Bicep comes across the nose and up to the ear. Then I think rotate the elbow away from my face as I continue that circle. We're going to get through 2 total circles. Biggest circle you can, and then reverse. As I come the opposite way back to the front, I'm unwinding or rotating the elbow pit back towards my head, then across the face to the start. We'll do one more. Nothing else moving. As I'm going through this, especially when I get through here and I start to rotate that elbow pit away, it gets real stiff in the shoulder. Don't shy away from that stiffness. Work into that stiffness. That's what we want to explore and get more exposure to. The only thing I'd ever say stay away from is as you're going through this, if you feel a sharp pinch in the shoulder, back out of the range just enough to work around that, but continue your arc of motion. There's just no reason to work into a pinch. Let's do the left. Got my right arm stabilizing me on the other side. Elbow straight, coming across the body, bicep to the ear. Elbow pit goes away from my face. Watch my palm. It rotates to the sky, and then it even faces away from my body by the time I finish. Here I lift and I unwind. To complete that circle in the reverse direction. One more. Again through here, nothing's moving. This is 100% shoulder. Your trunk is going to want to twist and rotate and do all kinds of weird stuff, especially if your shoulder is stiff and crunchy. But you're going to keep your trunk out of the picture. It's not going to help at all. It's all shoulder. It's okay if you feel clicking and crunching. The only thing we avoid are those pinches. Lastly is our sleeper stretch. When doing this one, I like to have something underneath my head, 100% personal preference. You're going to lay on your side. The shoulder we're stretching is the one that's on the floor. So my right shoulder in this case, I give my head some support. My knees come up like I'm sitting in a chair. This arm straight out in front, you're going to bend at the elbow. And first, just see how your range of motion is. When I relax, this is as far inward as my shoulder goes naturally. As I apply some additional pressure on it, it definitely sinks down to that range a little more, but then I feel it wind really tight deep in the back of the shoulder. If you are feeling a pinching sensation, simply back out of the range to not feel it, or you can adjust your trunk, leaning further away from this arm in front of you or leaning closer into it, and just find that angle that works where you can feel stretching but no pinching. We only want to work into stretching. Once you find your position where you feel it wind tight, this is where we hang out for about 2 minutes. We want to hold a position of stretch for 2 minutes because that's how we speak to connective tissue. Really, any stretches that are under the 2-minute mark are not significant or sustained long enough to actually get connective tissue to change what it's doing. So in order to add new range of motion that stays, it's not just a temporary fluctuation in range of motion, it's actually true changes in range. We want to target connective tissue, and that simply requires long duration stretching. So we're coming up on a minute in this position. We're going to hold for about one more, and then we're going to go right into one isometric contraction of the shoulder, contracting specifically the tissues that are being stretched. And that's called a progressive angular isometric loading, or PALS contraction. And the whole point of doing a PALS contraction is really twofold. The first is that it adds additional tension into the connective tissue, but it also improves the level of function or strength of those muscles in this range of motion. It's no secret that we're typically weaker in stretched out positions. We don't necessarily want that. We want to gain strength at those stretched out ranges. We will begin our Pales contraction in about 15 seconds. So remember, that's a contraction of the tissues that are being stretched. So if you're going down this way to get into a stretch, that means you're going to use the muscles of your shoulder to try to rotate out of the stretch against the resistance of your opposite hand. And you're always going to start off really light. On a scale of 1 to 10, start at a 1. So begin to try to rotate this out of the stretch against the resistance of your hand really light. And you should pretty much immediately feel the tension in the back of the shoulder increase a little bit. Now bring it up to a 2, up to a 3, a 4, a 5, halfway there, 6, keep bringing it up, 7, 8, 9, and now you're trying to rotate out of the stretch as hard as you feel you comfortably can, safely can, and hold it, holding it for about 30 seconds total. If you could zoom into my arm, you'd see that I'm shaking pretty good. Keep holding it. 10 seconds left. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Now gradually start to relax your contraction. Do not turn it off immediately. From a 10, you back it down all the way to a 1. And now when you relax, you may notice that it actually lets you sink a little deeper into the range. Congratulations, we've gained a little bit there. From here, actively rotate all the way out of the stretch. Let's go to the other side. Getting in our same position. Arms straight out in front. Bending at the elbow. First gauging how much do I have just resting. And then we add a little bit more pressure to feel it wind tight deep in the back of that shoulder. And then we hold for 2 minutes. Now we've talked about why long duration stretching is how we target connective tissue. We also need to talk about why rotation, especially of the shoulder. Specifically, in this case, internal rotation. The capsule that holds your shoulder together is made of connective tissue, hence the long duration stretches and contractions. Rotation, and again specifically internal rotation, is primarily limited by the joint capsule, not any muscles or anything else, primarily limited by the capsule. That means rotation is how we can directly tension or stretch the joint capsule. Now, for most individuals, the internal rotation is what most people lack in their shoulder. Not everybody, but I'd say most. So it's typically very limited and pretty stiff when we get here. We have just under a minute left. So that's why we combine rotational training with long duration stretches and contractions to gain more range of motion through training the capsule directly. We combine that with these active range of motion exercises, such as our controlled articular rotations, to really help us not only gain range of motion, but gaining usable, very strong ranges of motion. About 10 seconds, we will start our Pales contraction. Remember, you're flexing the stuff that is currently being stretched. So you're going to try to rotate out of the stretch against your top hand that's giving you some resistance. Let's go ahead and gradually start ramping up. So at a 1 out of 10 first, then a 2, then a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now you're pushing as hard as you feel you safely can. Arms shaken, 30-second hold. Keep holding. Keep holding. Your shoulder's going to fatigue really fast, but I want you to think about really just maintaining the tension that you feel deep in the back of the shoulder. Maintain the intensity effort that you have. 10 seconds left. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Gradually start to relax all the way back down to 0. You might find that you get a little bit more range, and that's okay. Rotate all the way out of that stretch. As you practice and build some familiarity with these mobility exercises, the routine itself should take about 10 minutes to get through. Just know that you are free to add additional repetitions onto the cat-cow or cars, or even time to the stretch or contractions that we perform for the shoulder. Just know that if you do that, it's going to add a little bit more time onto your routine.